Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming a very ambitious March TBR. Last month I did it where Instagram chose my TBR, and then in January I used my TBR prompts. But I'm just really in a mood reading kind of phase at the minute, and I could use my TBR jar again, and I could, you know, kind of force them to like match up with the books that I want to read. But I just thought, you know what, let's just do a month where I mood read and I just pick my TBR. There's also quite a few videos that I want to film in March that require kind of more specific books that I need to read. So I just thought, yeah, let's just make it a month where I completely choose my TBR and we just mood read. Let's all accept now that I am not going to read all these books in March. I'm not going to be able to read all of them. I'm starting a full-time job in like just before the middle of March. So we're not going to get through all of these. These are just my hopefuls. These are kind of what I'm going to be picking from, and I'll just read as many of them as I can. So the first book is one that I have had on my TBR for a very long time. I've owned this book for years and I keep putting it off, and I'm really not sure if I'm going to like it, but I think it's just time to give it a go. And that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I'm not 100% sure what this is about, but I do know it's a dark academia. I think it's set at Yale. The main character somehow, I think, gets like enrolled into some kind of secret society or something at Yale. That's pretty much all I know, other than it is quite dark. I've heard quite a lot of trigger warnings about this book. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I end up enjoying it or even end up kind of getting through it without DNFing if it's too triggering. We'll just see. But yeah, I thought it was time to finally actually give this one a go. The next one, again, I've been wanting this book for years. Ever since I read the first book in this series, I've been anticipating this one. And it is Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. So this is Lucian and Sloane's book from the Knock 'Em Out series. It's a small town romance series, quite thick books. This is a third one. I think the last one as well. I think it's just going to be a trilogy. And Lucian and Sloane have been a couple that I think everyone who likes the series has been anticipating since the very first book. This has got mixed reviews, hence why I didn't read it straight away. I got this as soon as it came out and was like really excited to read it, but then it started getting quite mixed reviews, so I have put it off for a bit. But I'm just going to go in with slightly reduced expectations. I'm going to go in accepting that it might not be the best ever, but again, it's time to just give it a go. I've had it since it came out. I did really like the first two books, so I'm just going to go in with kind of not no expectations, but just reduced expectations to try and avoid disappointment with this one. The next one has been on my TBR since the beginning of the year now, I think, and it's Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I've not owned this for too long, but I know if I don't read this, it's going to be one of those books that I just put off forever. Even though it does sound really interesting, it's just not one of those books that I would naturally reach for. So I'm really actually going to try this month and get this one read. I think I might do it on audio, because one of the things that's putting me off, it is a bit intimidating anyway because it's not my usual genre, but the text in my copy is really small, like the font is tiny. So I think I'm going to listen to this one as one of my audiobooks for this month. The next one is, oh, I've just pushed the pile over, how annoying. The next one is another book that I've owned for far too long, and it is The Gilded Ones. Who is this by? Namina Fauna. I've owned this for a long time. I bought it because it's very pretty and it was on the buy one get one half price table at Waterstones. It must have been a couple of years ago now. And I think it's because I've not heard anything about it and I bought it on a whim. I've just not been inclined to pick it up because I've been obviously going for books that I've heard a lot about or that have got hype or whatever. And this has just kind of got pushed to the wayside on my TBR. So again, I would quite like to get through this one now. It's one of those books that I look at every month and I'm like, I really should try and get to that. So hopefully this is the month that that actually happens. The next one has been a very anticipated read for me for a while, and it is Legends and Lattes. Who is this by? Travis Baldry. I think that's how you say it, sorry if it isn't. This is a cosy fantasy, which I think I'm very much in the mood for at the minute. I've been reading quite a lot of more high stakes, fast paced fantasies, and I think I am in the mood for a nice cosy little book, so I think this will hit the spot quite nicely. From what I know, I think this is about a character, not a human, but I can't remember what she is. I'm not going to read all through it. She's some kind of, I don't say creature, that sounds really mean, some kind of species, and in their world there has just been a war, and the war is now over and she's now opening a coffee shop and trying to kind of live out her best life. So I think this will be just a really cute little read when I'm in the mood for something yeah, just quite cozy and a bit more slow. Sorry by the way if you can hear any building noises or voices outside. I have tried to make it as soundproof as possible. I've got all the windows and everything shut, but there are builders outside, and no matter which room I sit in my house, I can hear them, and I need to get these videos filmed today. So either if you can hear them, I'm sorry. The next one is Kiss the Sky by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the 4th book, I think, in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. I've read the first 3. I read them quite a few months ago now. I've had a bit of a break. I enjoyed the first 3 well enough. I'm not obsessed with the series at this point, but I do love Rose and Connor, so I think this might be the book that really gets me back into that series and makes me want to kind of dive back into it again and actually carry on reading it. By the way, if I'm holding my finger weirdly, if you can tell, it's because I've hurt my finger yesterday and I can't really bend it, so I'm sorry that this finger is just kind of randomly sticking out. It's because it hurts. But anyway, Kiss the Sky. The next one is another one that has been left over from another TBR. I think this was on my January TBR, and it is Star Daughter. This is a YA fantasy. It's not got the best reviews. I think it was about a 3.8 star when I checked on Goodreads, which isn't great, but Magnolia Parks is a 3.8 star and I'm obsessed with that. So I need to not let the ratings get to me, and I think I just need to give this a go. I'm not promising it'll be this month because there's quite a lot of fantasies on my TBR this month, and I am in a fantasy mood, but this is kind of at the bottom of the pile. But this is not going back on the TBR cart. If I don't read it next month, I'm going to keep putting it on every monthly TBR until I actually read this, because yet again, surprise surprise, I've owned it for a long time and I just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it back and not reading it. The next 2 are books that I have started months ago and got bored and put down. The first one is The Language of Seabirds. This is a YA romance between 2 young boys, which I think that's the thing that's kind of putting me off. They are 12 and 13, I think, which is obviously very, very young because I'm like 25. So it, on one hand, it just feels a bit odd to be reading about characters so young. I didn't realise they were that young when I bought it. I thought they'd be more like, you know, 17, 18. Which still isn't my favourite age to read about, but I thought it'd be a sweet little coming of age story, but it isn't. They are very young. But anyway, it's a YA romance between 2 boys who are, I don't think either of them have ever had relationships before, so it's their first kind of love. And it's a very cute premise. They're in this seaside town for the summer, and it is quite sweet, but it is just a bit boring. I'm just quite bored. There's just not that much going on. I think it is just supposed to be about them falling in love, but the romance just isn't particularly compelling to me. Might be because of their age, I don't know. It's just not gripping me that much. But I don't want to DNF it because it is cute, and I think a lot of people, particularly younger readers, would love this. I think I'm just past the target age, but I do want to give it another go. And then the next one I am determined to get through is I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. Never once have I put down an Alice Oseman book. Never once have I considered or have ever DNF'd an Alice Oseman book. This is the first one that I'm struggling to get through. It's very much a book about fandom, which I'm like a massive Swiftie, obsessed with Taylor Swift, so I get it. But I don't know, like in this book the main character keeps calling the band that this is about like our boys and my boys, and it just feels very possessive and just a bit like we're crossing a bit of a line there with how she kind of views them, like as if they, like the fandom owns them or something. But yeah, again, I'm going to give it another go because I've never not liked an Alice Oseman book, so I'm definitely going to try and finish this. But yeah, I wasn't loving it the first time around. The next one is leftover from my February TBR, and I definitely do want to get to it. I wanted to read it in February, I just ran out of time, and it's The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. This is a book about 2 sisters, and somewhere down the line their families start living very separate lives. I think that one of the families, I don't know if it's the sisters or the sisters' daughters, I don't know, but somewhere down the line I think one side of the family, because they are black, lives as a black family, and I think the other half of the family are white passing, and I think it's an exploration of how their lives are therefore very different. And yeah, just kind of seeing the contrast between them, even though they are from the same family, how their lives are different. I think that's what it's about. That's what I've gathered by reading the blurb. Right, we're on to the last 3 now, I think. Yeah. So the next one is Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. I love Ellie Hazelwood. I don't love paranormal books, but I have faith that Miss Ellie Hazelwood will make me like paranormal books. I don't think I've ever rated a paranormal book more than 3 stars. They're just not for me. But I just love the way that Ellie Hazelwood writes. I love the humour that she uses. I love the way she writes her relationships. So I have very high hopes for this one. I am going to read this in a reading vlog. So yeah, I have very high hopes that this will make me be a paranormal girl. We will see. The next one, I might as well just put myself like on record saying this now because it's getting tedious. I've owned it for a long time and it's out of my comfort zone, so I haven't read it, and it's The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I have the beautiful indie published edition. I am obsessed with this. It is absolutely gorgeous. And this is another dark academia book, and dark academia is very much out of my comfort zone. I haven't loved the dark academia books I've read before. And this has very, very mixed reviews, but again, it's just time for me to give this a go now. It's getting ridiculous how long this is sat on my shelves. And this is now like a trilogy, so I just need to start it and see if I like it. And I hope I do because the cover is so beautiful. I can't really justify keeping it if I don't enjoy the book. So I'm hoping I enjoy this so I can display this beautiful cover on my shelves, which, yes, that is very vain, but that's fine. And then the last one is, again, left over from, I think, my January... Sorry, I'm leaning over. This stack of books is, like, falling. I'm just trying to make it balance, and it's not really working. I think I've done it. The next one is left over from my January TBR. I'm trying to make it so that once a book has come off the TBR cart, it doesn't go back on. I'm trying, if I don't read a book from a TBR, to put it on the next month's. And I've done that twice with this now, I've still not read it, and it's The Notebook. I started this, I read the first couple of pages and put it down because I just wasn't in the mood for it. If I don't end up reading it this month, I'm going to leave it for a bit and try again and maybe take it on holiday, because it is a short book. I imagine it's a quick read. The font is very big, so I don't think it will take me long. I've never seen the film, so I don't really know what it's about. I just, again, owned it for a long time, bought it on a whim, and need to give it a go because I'm sick of putting this back on my TBR cart now, because I keep taking it off, not reading it, and just putting it back on. So fingers crossed this is the month where this actually gets read. I actually lied, that wasn't the last book. There's a book on my Kindle that I want to read, and it is Assassin's Blade, part of the Throne of Glass series. I've read it in the order where I read Assassin's Blade 4th. I don't really know why I chose the order, I just did. Oh, very loud building works. I don't know why I chose the order, I just kind of did, so I'm now on Assassin's Blade. I have started it. Again, I am going to read that one in a reading vlog. I'm alternating between reading it on ebook and audiobook, so I don't have a physical copy. But yeah, that is the last book on my March TBR. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!